Hello, hello, and welcome to My Perspective Mondays.
I always laugh at Lisette dancing for 4 seconds after we
Yay!
come on, listening to herself singing the intro.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Wow, this is pretty awesome. Just
Mhm.
it's good to be here, and you know what? Let's just say hi to the cast. Hey,
Good at the cast.
Hello, everyone.
Hey
hey,
everybody.
guys.
Saw Weenie this morning. Forget him.
Hey, it's good to be here tonight. We got a great show for you, y'all. We're going to talk about New York City. Is it a great city,
New
like they
York
say,
City.
or is it overrated? That's a good question. They
Mm.
say if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
Wait, wait,
Uh,
wait. Can I be Mark since he likes to be Weenie? I'm going to be Mark. Well,
okay,
it all depends on what you mean by overrated.
that's
So
what I was gonna say.
we use the term overrated, and Gregory Falducius in 1773.
Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean by New York City?
Yeah, what do you mean by New York City?
Hey,
You mean
The
you
Big
mean
Apple.
Stand or the
which
real
one?
one?
Which one of the five boroughs we're talking about? When you say New York City?
Buffalo.
This is going to
Oh
be
God.
great tonight. First, I want to know who has actually lived in, who has been oh, Jackson. So you have actually lived. How many years did you live there?
One. I was like five.
Ah, that doesn't count.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
You didn't make any decisions.
Wow. So you actually lived in the big city. That's awesome. I mean, because people
How
like,
is that awesome? Who says
I
it's
mean,
awesome?
I think it's awesome because, us little country little people here in North Carolina, we're country. So I don't
Oh,
know, being in the big city for me was like, wow, the
Yeah.
big city, oh wow, that's awesome. I mean, it's like survival if you can make it there. I mean, I just think it's so cool.
Yeah.
But tell us about your experiences, Jackson, while you was in New York.
you would tell us about his experiences as he was 5 years old?
I mean,
Yeah, he's
even
still
at
young.
5, and then haven't you gone back since then?
I have to visit
Wow.
with family and friends, but even still, apparently Keone wants to discredit me. So it's better than, Weenie spending 2 weeks there, but I'm not going to get into that. It'll either make you or break you. The phrase goes, a bad day in New York is better than a good day anywhere else,
That's a
is what
Why?
lie.
most
Why do you
people
say
say.
that? Why?
That's a
It toughens
lie.
you up.
Elaborate.
It toughens you up. It gives you a harder exterior, and if you can face anything in New York, you can face just about anything
Oh,
anywhere else.
bull bleep.
Give me an example.
I have an
People will
example.
hassle you on the street. So as long as you're able to conduct yourself in the manner that'll basically show you have a backbone, people won't test you.
No, they use that as an excuse to be assholes. Like, stop making up excuses to be like, oh, we're just like this because we're New York, so we're purposely being jerks. And
This
if we
coming
can
from
make
a
it
crazy
here,
Canadian.
we can make it. No, New York.
Yeah, a,
I have a lot of
a
friends
lot
in
of
New York.
a
New
lot of
York.
New York haters in Miami, Florida.
No, listen, no, a lot of New Yorkers in Miami, Florida. No, I like
That's
New
why
York.
that's why there's so many haters.
No, I like New York. I have a lot of friends in New York, and a lot of them will say this. Everybody wants to live in New York until you live in New York. That's what a lot of my friends in New York
I
say.
had no desire to live there.
But
It's a great place to visit, but no desire to live there.
I look
Yeah,
at
because the cost of living,
New
right?
York like a lot of other major cities.
Mhm.
If you make a certain living, it could be better. If you live in certain areas, if you have certain friends, but you can be miserable in any city, whether country or big. I know one thing about New York is it does get a bad rap if you haven't been there and you're going off of outdated info. Like I first went to New York in 2012, but my depiction of New York was all the things I saw as a teenager in the 90s. So when I got to New York and I went through the subway all day, I'm like waiting to get stabbed. It never happened. It was
Yeah.
really clean. Everything was totally different than what I thought it was going to be. It's just like when people used to come visit me in Miami, they act like cocaine was going to be raining from the sky. I'm like, stop watching TV. That's not how Miami is.
I got
Actually,
talked
that
out of
is
going
how
to
Miami
Miami
is.
back in the '90s. I had a conference in Miami. I got talked out of going by family who just said they just were scared to death of me going to Miami. I've been several
What?
times since and enjoyed it every time.
Wait, you said in the 90s?
It's what you
Yeah,
make
like
it.
'94 or something like that.
Yeah, but you got to remember in 94, we were having those rash of tourists being killed in Miami like every other day.
Well, and there were some areas like I think the last time I was down in Miami, it was in Miami Beach, and the cabbie who was driving me around, or the Uber driver, whatever he was,
Cabby.
said he had lived there in the '80s. He said there were places that were unsafe in Miami Beach, so it
Oh
wasn't.
yeah, but the
Yeah.
time that you went was when there was a rash of they were killing tourists like every
Oh,
other
I didn't.
day.
I didn't go. That's I got
Um,
talked out of it, but I've been several times since and enjoyed it.
So
And
you
with
let
New
somebody
York,
talk you
it's
out
kind
of
of the
it.
opposite. With New York, it's the opposite. I have not been in like 10 years, except to go through the airports. But the first time I went was back in the '70s, and I
oof.
went with part of my high school drama class. We went there, and so we saw several Broadway plays and enjoyed it a lot. Uh, New York, Broadway, all the sights and whatnot. It's an exciting place. The things that stand out to me is we were, as anticipating this was, say, in New York, is Italian restaurants. They have an unbelievable number of good Italian restaurants in New York.
You say something about restaurants. I remember when my family.
Oh, here we go. Oh, God.
Uh,
Another restaurant story. Let's go.
uh,
There we go.
My family and I was traveling through New York. Well, we had to stop over to Brooklyn and Harlem and stuff, and we stopped in at this Italian restaurant, and we had like a whole van. It was like a whole van of people. When we came back out, we had gotten robbed. They stole our luggage.
Well, I
They
but
saw the North Carolina sticker and said, "Yes,
you
I'm
you look
sure."
Free
look
loot.
you know what?
you were just jinxed. I mean,
Yeah, right.
traveling with you, going to a restaurant or a hotel with you is just
Not
not a
doing
good
it.
I'm telling you, I can't go nowhere with Lisette.
I
no.
mean, they,
Not
they
doing it.
robbed us. I could not believe that they would do that. I
Of
was a little
course you.
scared.
What do you mean you couldn't believe that?
I mean, but it was
You
so
can,
ugly. I mean, they took our stuff.
Well,
well,
it was bad,
robberies
but
usually aren't pretty.
yeah.
That is true.
But
But
Mark,
but I also
go on,
remember,
Mark.
the good. I remember once. This is a small thing, but I went to
Uh,
a baseball game at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx,
mm,
and I'd heard about what a rough place it is, and I didn't wander around the Bronx too much. But on the way back, on the subway, all my money fell out of my pocket on the subway, and people were scrambling to pick it up and give it back to me.
Oh,
Really?
that's clever.
I mean, so I would ask for directions in the
It's
subway
processed.
and not have any. You know, no, these were the money's all the same color, John. Um, but
you got a cab in New York in the '80s. That tells you something.
I mean, I only went like once or twice in the '80s. I went once in the '70s, once in the '80s, and then
Yeah.
several times between, you say, the mid '90s
Mm,
and around 2012. And I never lived in New York, but I did some work with some probation officers in New York,
mhm.
and I got to see Brooklyn. Spent some time in Brooklyn. Brooklyn Heights has great Italian restaurants and good place just kind of to walk around. Some great pizza places like that.
Hmm.
It's a little off the beaten path as far as all the click tourist places. Although Brooklyn Bridge is real cool.
I hate
Um,
doing touristy things when
Right.
going to major cities. I like doing the things that the people that live there do.
yeah. Well,
That's
I think though there are certain bucket list items though, like
Mhm.
now, for instance, the Statue of Liberty.
That's
So
Now,
a,
the
you've
Statue
gone
of
to the
Liberty.
Statue of Liberty?
Oh,
I've never
Okay,
gone.
this is my thing with the Statue of Liberty. This is my experience. I have not been up inside it. I never cared to, but you don't go to the Statue of Liberty
giggity.
unless you also go to Ellis Island,
Okay.
because without the Ellis Island museums, the Statue of Liberty means nothing.
It
Because those
really
immigrants
is.
who came in and saw the Statue of Liberty, they saw the Statue of Liberty, but they went to Ellis Island.
Hmm.
And so that's the real story of the Statue of Liberty.
I
So,
always feel underwhelmed when I think I've already told you the story about when I went to Mount Rushmore. I always feel underwhelmed when I go to these giant monuments or statues. I'm like, it's always like, it's gonna be bigger.
well, I
So
mean, it's
I don't know
it is
how
what it is.
big the Statue of Liberty is, but Mark, you said you've been to Mount Rushmore, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I just thought that was way bigger than what I looked at. I thought it was going to be way bigger.
I don't
It's
know.
still big.
Yeah. Um,
I was just kind of underwhelmed.
I don't know. Well,
Wow.
that does happen. I mean, but the New York City though, now I'm disappointed that Stephanie's not here because I wanted to talk about Broadway. I
Hmm.
love Broadway plays, and I love and another thing. What I wanted to get at was some stuff that people go to New York and don't necessarily do because it's a tad off the beaten path, such as going to Brooklyn Heights.
Mhm.
Um, and such as going to off-Broadway plays in New York.
Hmm.
I remember one off-Broadway play I went to, and to show you how off it was, the woman who took my ticket at the door was also the star of the show, and they were having to compete with the nightclub next door to be heard. I mean, but that's real theater, you know. And I went to some artsy thing in Greenwich Village, only about 30 people in the audience, and most of them knew the people in the cast. So it's away from the glitz and all that, but it's still fun. Uh, and you know, like I say, go to Ellis Island, not just the Statue of Liberty, but there are also things you can do and get out of the city for a while and have a real good time that are not too far away. And Keone, one thing I'd recommend for you, being a sports fan that you are, is that one year East Carolina was playing against Army. It was in October, and my son and I caught a boat in Manhattan and took a boat up the Hudson River and got off at West Point and went and watched a football game. About an hour or so ride. And it's one of the best venues in the world to watch a sporting event. So there's stuff like that. You can get away from the city and have a good time too. Plus Coney Island and the beaches and all that.
You talked about all that junk, and the only important thing you talked about of importance was the pizza. Let me tell
Everything
you.
I say is important.
Let me tell you. I don't care what New Yorker has opened a restaurant in North Carolina, Texas, Miami. When I finally went to New York, I was like, okay, it's true. The damn pizza's better. Like, good Lord, I love pizza, but I literally ate pizza twice a day the entire 7 days I was up there.
And Italian food. They got just great Italian restaurants there.
And speaking of pizza,
Oh God, she had
you would not believe what abomination I did. You know what I did?
No, I would.
I had the nerve.
I would anticipate it.
I had the I had the nerve to order me a cheese pizza.
Let me know when she's done.
I walked in. I walked
Like
in,
Kevin McAllister in Home Alone.
and I said, look, I want a cheese pizza, and I want it smothered in cheese. I want so much cheese, I can't even see the the bread underneath. And I want some pineapples on it and some spinach. I'm telling you,
Pineapple.
yes.
Pineapple on a pizza in New York City.
and
You
spinach.
like to
And
maybe
spin-
throw
not in
that
New
out.
You're a
York. This is not
heretic.
in New York. This was the other
Full
day.
of vitamins.
And I put not only vitamins but constipation as well, because I'm telling you, it was too much pizza.
Yeah, it was too
Too much
much.
pizza?
You made it
much
too
meat.
much.
Like,
You
they're
made-
massive. They come big. You
Oh yeah,
know?
guys, I forgot to tell you. When you hear this sound, that means there's a comment in the audience. Clarence
Too
said
much.
too much.
No such thing.
Clarence,
Yeah.
Clarence,
You
there
asked
was
for it,
too
you got
much.
it, Toyota. I mean,
There was too much everything on that pizza.
It was too much.
well,
It made
ordered
me
it.
sick.
any
I got
pineapple is too much on pizza.
I got sick.
What,
I
what,
got so sick. Weenie, I got so sick.
I won't personally order pineapple, but I'll eat it.
what
On a
possessed
pizza,
you to
no.
put I that on your pizza?
I hadn't had any breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and I ate half the pizza in approximately
So
20
let me get
minutes.
this straight. You're in New York. You haven't had breakfast. By the way, they have some great brunch places.
It wasn't
You
in
haven't.
New York. It was here.
Well, why
Oh,
are we talking about? Oh my
Because
God!
my
New York.
stomach swelled real big. It's like it was full of cheese.
I
It
I
was,
just
never
ay,
mind.
ay.
Never mind.
Mark.
I'm
Mark, that's your
trying.
friend.
I
I'm
see
trying
now
to.
why you got robbed.
Yeah.
They knew it. Say, pineapple on pizza?
Darwinian stuff.
Yeah, shit.
Tourists get targeted like a tourist.
Hey,
I'm
this
just
woman
mad
want
that
pineapple on her pizza.
I'm just
You
mad
know.
that she missed breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And her answer to that was to put all of it together on one pizza and then get surprised when her stomach tore up. Hey, listen, Lisette, you can never go wrong. And I love all different types of pizza. I've tried them all, barbecue pizza, whatever. You can never go wrong with just a slice of pepperoni. You'll be fine.
But I
Most
don't eat meat.
Italians will literally fight
But you
you
don't
if you
eat
say you
what?
want to put
I
pineapple
don't
on it.
do the meat no more.
That's
Pineapple,
part
yes.
of your problem.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Vegetarian.
I need some grease, huh?
With some mushrooms or something. Yeah, but,
That is high cholesterol waiting to happen.
John Keone, I remember once, if we can shift the conversation, thank God, back to New York.
Yeah.
But I remember I got there once and I'd had a flight, and so I didn't skip breakfast, lunch, and dinner and all that. But it'd been a long time since lunch, so I was famished by the time I got there. And you know where the Lincoln Center is and Juilliard School,
Uh-huh.
the Lincoln, Upper
Uh-huh.
West Side.
Yes.
Well, yeah, Jackson would know. Yeah, and
That's
that's
not
where
my
I was
borough, but
staying.
still, I get you.
Yeah, I was staying at a hotel there, and I remember I walked into some hole in the wall place that served just pasta and pizza, and
Yes.
I think it was the best meal I've ever had in my entire life because I
Amazing.
was so hungry.
Hunger
But it
is
was
the
pizza and
best
pasta.
sauce.
Oh,
Well, I went to the Apollo when I was there. I went
Did
Was
you
twice.
this
sing
before
it
or
Boo
after
off?
you got robbed?
Yes, I performed. I was live at the Apollo. I went and performed there.
Did you
that's
Live.
get
not
That
too
was
booed off
shabby.
the
pretty cool.
stage?
Yes, it was pretty nice.
Oh!
No, they didn't. No, they didn't boo me off. No, they didn't boo me off the stage. No,
Keone,
they
I
didn't.
think
They didn't.
Keone, Keone, I hope you'll understand when I say that. Yes, I have ridden by the Apollo, but I didn't get off the tour bus. Okay, just so you.
Oh,
Why not?
Uh,
crazy.
I'm just kidding.
Well, you were
But
wearing your Jackson Pollock shirt. That was the problem.
but it was one of
Um,
those, upper deck, those deck tour buses. We rode through the Harlem area.
uh,
For well, I get the directions mixed up now, but by the Dakota, by the Apollo, and all that. But
But it
that's a
was
great place to
awesome.
visit. I love it.
it, um,
Very grand.
I just picture Lisette walking down the street in Manhattan, walking down the street in Manhattan, and all I can hear is Mary Tyler Moore. We're gonna make it after all.
Well, one thing and one thing you don't do, and quite frankly, I can picture her doing this,
Yes.
is walking around looking up all the time.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Dead
Don't do
giveaway.
that. Really?
Don't wear your
Don't do
purse
that.
on one shoulder. You
Okay.
always wear it across.
Wow. We were actually
Kind of hard
Yeah,
to
don't
snatch your purse when it's across your body.
don't walk down the street looking up all the time.
Yeah.
It's a dead giveaway.
The reason as to why you don't walk with it over your shoulder is because it's easy for somebody to walk up behind you, run past you, and snatch your purse off and keep going.
Yes.
Aren't there really
And
good pickpockets
Good advice.
too? Where they
Yeah.
can just like bump you and then boom, your wallet's
Right.
gone.
my
Don't keep
friend
things
told
in your
us.
back pocket.
don't do what?
Don't keep things in your back
No,
pocket.
never. I
Right.
always, when I used to have a wallet, I had it in my front pocket. If you're gonna take it, you're gonna take it from there.
You're gonna take
But
something else too. Yeah.
my friend, oh, thank you for the compliment. My friend, she said when she first went to Chicago as a 19-year-old, fresh out of the country, she was walking down the street all happy to be in the big city, and a guy behind her said, "Take your purse and put it across your body. You're too stupid for me to rob today. I can tell you're not from here."
And even the
Wow.
criminals are flaming.
Yeah. Wow. I was like,
I tell
That's
you,
funny.
look, another Jackson, whoever, another place that people don't often visit when they go to New York is like out toward Coney Island, and the little Odessa, the heavy Russian Jewish enclave out there. You get some good, say Russian food, stuff like that. That's a place, the boardwalk and all. That's a
I
place
want
people
some
don't often visit.
haggis.
Hmm. That's awesome.
I
And they
always
call it
love
Little
this.
Odessa because of the Russian population, the
You know
Ukrainian.
what? That's another thing I love. So like in Miami, we have Little Haiti, Little Havana. There's sections of areas where certain people live, and it's kind of cool because like you go into those neighborhoods, and it's all new food, all different stuff. You can just rotate and have
Mhm.
We've got that in
something
New
different,
York.
huh?
We've got that in New York. Little Italy, Little China, Little India.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
I'm saying I love that kind of stuff because you can
Yeah.
go and have different things all the time.
Little Havana's great in Miami.
Yeah, if you live in Lawton, Oklahoma, you're getting what you're getting.
Yeah.
So
Well,
what,
little India, little China means one place in a
yeah,
town like that. Yeah.
right.
what about that? I know you mentioned it, Mark, about the airport. So what is it about the New York airport that you
Which
don't
one?
like?
Because there's two. There's
JFK or
LaGuardia.
Well,
LaGuardia.
there's really
Either
three.
either of them in
You
there
got
that you don't like
like
than others.
there's such a thing as a good airport anyway, but LaGuardia,
Oh,
JFK, and then
Oh,
Newark
that's a
is the
lie,
third one.
Mark. Because Dallas Fort Worth is pretty amazing.
Well,
Wow.
okay, the airports in New York, they're just nuts. I mean, last time I was there, it was just
There's too much going on in that airport.
yeah.
There's too many people coming from two different places. Too many places in the world.
My friends
I mean, it's
always
just
get mad whenever I get a layover in JFK.
Wow.
I
Well,
just
and
So
the
think
you
worst thing
always
you can
end up in the
do,
airport somehow, but you never come hang out.
the worst thing that can happen, Jackson, is if you did what I did once and didn't realize I was doing it at the time. I booked a flight. I forgot I was coming from Amsterdam. I'm not sure, and then I flew to JFK, and then I had to catch a bus from JFK to Newark, and that is something you do not want to do. That is an awful trip.
hey, there's a
Wow.
comment for Stephanie, who's a Long Islander who's supposed to be on here, but she big timed us today.
Hi, Stephanie.
She found somewhere more important to go to be on our little rinky dinky
I
show.
turned down sushi tonight. I'm here.
Hey,
There's quite a bit to I think we need another way to transport ourselves other than airports. There's got to
hey.
be a better way.
Yeah, go ahead. Take that investment money and make a teleporter, okay?
Yeah.
You
Why
you get
not?
you take well, it's the convenience of getting somewhere. Listen, for as much as people complain about flying, you want to drive to California from North Carolina or you want to fly?
I'd rather
I
fly.
take the
Oh, you
flight.
have to. I mean, but I'm
Okay.
just saying this.
Anyhow.
JFK and LaGuardia are good places to avoid. I mean, but you can't.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
They are very good places to avoid.
And our friend from Long Island here, I mean, that brings up another good point is that
Yeah.
Long Island is a good getaway, and
Yeah.
the place that I've been that I enjoyed the most was way out on Long Island, Montauk. I had a job out
Ooh,
there once, which is nice, just for a while.
okay.
But yeah, that's yeah, some nice areas. Very pricey.
Oh, I was.
Casanova
Yeah,
Frankenstein. I
yeah.
was in a restaurant in New York during the pandemic. Darn it, we don't say that word on YouTube. And they wouldn't serve me without proof of vaccination. Yeah, that happened shortly after.
Bless your
That happened
heart.
in a lot of places.
Oh,
I
That
didn't go
happened in a
during
didn't
that
lot.
go
time,
in
so
there.
You said what?
I
That
didn't
was
go then.
Yeah, well, that was happening in a lot of, and look, for good,
I didn't go
like,
anywhere.
I'm from Miami. I wasn't down in Miami, but certain cities, when the numbers got low, they're like, all right, everybody, masks off, let's go back. And then all of a sudden, boom, all right, everybody, masks back on. Like,
I know.
it's like, just can we
Wow.
wait till
It's
it blows over
crazy.
before we
Everybody
all,
out of the house.
yeah,
Everybody back in the house.
can we
I
wait till
Hey,
it
look,
know.
you know where it was nuts, and you wouldn't think this of all places.
Wow.
where
Key West, Florida. I mean, you had
it was
thousands of people
bad?
walking around Key West, and you had cops going around telling people walking around outside to put masks on outside, and it was
Mm,
because of the mayor. So we were told. The mayor was
Oh,
just
wow.
fanatic about it,
If there's one
and he or
place
she
in
was
New
just all
York
over
that
the
we
police
don't get
about it.
along with, it's
Mm-mm.
Staten Islanders.
So
Fly to
you might
Hawaii.
fly to Hawaii. Wow. That's
Don't
something.
say that.
Apocalypse.
Drive to Montana.
oh, wait a
No,
minute.
well,
So,
if you fly in if you fly into East Islip as opposed to Manhattan or Newark, and that's what I did.
uh,
Islip is the airport on Long Island, so to speak.
I've only
Mhm.
had a layover in New York when I'm going out of the country. I mean, where else are we
Wow.
going?
Yeah,
Wow. So what are some of the sites you wish you could see? I
I've seen them.
mean, I want to see the 9/11. You know.
I want them to bring back the
Ground Zero.
NC-17 XXX theaters in
Oh,
New York.
Okay.
you get a disease just walking by those things.
I
Well, they're
cannot
The
both.
believe
pe-
there was a time where people used to sit in a theater and watch porn with other people, mainly men.
don't touch that seat in front of you. I tell you,
Don't touch anything.
Uh-oh.
I know some guys that used to do this, Keone.
Uh-huh.
They would go to a porn theater like that,
Uh-huh.
and they take a little bit of a jar of mayonnaise, and you get a spoon and flick it on the guy in front of them, like in the back of the head. So the guy will reach back and there's something creamy in the back of his head. Let's go
So
back to New
look,
York.
you know what? Stephanie brings up something. When I drove around in certain parts of New York, it was already some of the smaller streets where the cars were like jamming into each other, and now there's like a bike lane and a bus lane, and then a car lane. It's like, what in the world? It's just crazy in some places. I've never understood people who can take the patience to sit in traffic in California, Atlanta, Houston, Miami on the same highways all the time right after work. When I lived in Miami, I told my boss either I go to work before rush hour and get off before, or I go to work after rush hour and get off after, because literally After rush hour, it took me 17 minutes on average to get home. When I
Oh
left
my
during
God.
rush hour, it would take me an hour and 35 minutes. I might as well stay at work and make money.
I can't stay. I just I can't even phantom the traffic like
There's
that.
a lot of things. There's a lot of things you
Well, one thing
no,
in New York City,
Wait,
one thing
wait,
you don't
Mark,
want to
Mark,
do.
I'm sorry because I'm
no.
leaving in a second, and we are not going to just breeze over that she said she can't phantom. She
I
said she
know. I
can't
heard.
phantom, and
I can't.
you're an
That,
educator, Mark.
I
that
just can't.
reminds me. Go see Phantom of the Opera on Broadway. Great show.
Okay,
Or Fathom.
I love
Go
the
see Fathom of the Opera.
I mean
Hey, Lisette, before you get into that, you know what time it is?
Weenie weekly
yes.
market update.
It is time for Weenie Weekly Market
Why
Update.
does she always say weenie?
Weenie Weekly Market Update.
Excellent. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Weenie's Weekly Market Update. We talk about the stock market here. We talk about the overall market and then different markets that may have some opportunities coming on up. So, the last time I talked about Weenie's Weekly Market Update, we were talking about how 2023 has been really bullish, meaning the market has gone up a lot in the first month of 2023. In the past week, the market's really kind of just gone nowhere, sideways as usual. So in terms of trading land, the overall market, not as exciting as other markets. And in terms of your 401k, it seems okay for now, but we're going to talk about some upcoming risks for the market. We also talked about how natural gas, ticker symbol UNG, could get a little bit of a bounce. And, we took that trade for about a 10% win in the Legion. So if you have those trade alerts or I'm managing your money for you, you were able to benefit from that. But that was what was happening last week. What's coming up this week? That's way more important. And this upcoming week, tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 a.m. Central, we're going to get the CPI data report. That just means, hey, what has inflation been like? How expensive are things getting relative to what they were before? And I love pulling up the Fear and Greed Index. If you guys can see my screen over here, this is the Fear and Greed Index. And this is kind of telling us what's driving market prices. And right now we're on greed. On a scale of 0 to 100, we're at a 71, meaning what's driving market prices is greed. So that's kind of like a sentiment indicator. If you're ever looking to buy stocks or invest a little bit more, try to buy when there's a little bit more fear or extreme fear. That lets you know you're getting a little bit better of a deal relative to what it's been in the past. If the market is in extreme greed mode, you're paying a premium and you're likely to potentially either lose money in the short term or medium term on your money. So be a contrarian at the extremes, and in the middle, just kind of be on the lookout for a reversal. When the fear and greed index is on neutral, nothing's really likely to happen. We're likely to go sideways. And so basically what I'm saying is that fundamentally the market is overvalued, but technically the market is in a strong uptrend that could break upward. So short term prices can do whatever they want, but longer term they do tend to revert back to their fundamentals. There's actually a tulip craze back in 1950, meaning the price of tulips went sky high, like they went up thousands and thousands of percents. Everybody was trying to buy tulips and flip it for a quick profit. And eventually it was the tulip bubble, and then tulips eventually came back down to what they're worth, basically nothing. So I'm not saying the market's worth nothing, but it should be worth less than what it is currently. And so when we're analyzing the market and talking about the stock market, we're always trying to think about what can we do with our money? Where can we get the best return on our investment? So just a quick reminder, like a savings account, it depends on where you are, but let's just say a regular savings account gets you about 2% per year, okay? Now, if you invest in the stock market, this is SPY, this averages about 8% a year over the long run. It's not going to just be steady 8% each and every year. Some years it'll be a lot more, some years it'll be a lot less. That's what it averages. But remember, you have to take risk when you're investing in the market. It could crash. And so that's what comes with extra return is more risk. Then you can invest also in treasury bills. I know it's boring. Treasury bills, T-bills, bonds, as they say. Bonds are boring, but they're not boring because you can get 4% a year, a little bit better than a savings account, with zero risk. So you don't have to lose anything. You don't have to get clapped. When the market crashes, the T-bills will pay you that 4% no matter what. And it's better than a savings account. So there's multiple ways that we can invest our money. You can also invest in yourself. The investment on yourself is infinite. You can build new skills. You can learn something new. You can, gain work experience, or you can get a degree. There's so many different things that you can do to invest in yourself. So that's technically infinite. And then you can also, if you want to, if you're ever interested, me and my former hedge fund manager, Romulus, we're helping manage people's portfolios. And in the past, we have audited returns of 30% a year. So with us, you can expect, we can't guarantee performance results, but you can reasonably expect 30% a year. And then all our fee is 2%. So if you invest $1,000 with us at the end of a whole year, the total cost to you is $20. So just something to think about. But that's what I was talking about. That's what we want to think about when we're analyzing the market. Where can we get our returns? And another just short-term thing that we can take a look at is ticker symbol SCO. This actually goes up when the price of oil goes down. So I'm actually looking for an entry, a buy on SCO, which means I'm expecting oil prices to actually come down, gas prices to come down over the long run, and we can find an entry in this and profit from that. Otherwise, if you just want to not buy it, cool. Just know that most likely gas prices are actually going to come down during this dip in inflation. And then one other thing is you can invest in something like XBI. Again, none of this is financial advice, but I'm going to start building a position or a trade in XBI. And XBI is just the biotech sector. So there's value in the biotech sector, and the chart pattern is bullish and more likely to go higher. So that's just me nerding out on stocks and stuff. Let me know if you have any questions or want me to analyze stocks for you. I'm happy to help. That's all we have for today's Weenies Weekly Market Update. Let's get back to talking about New York City.
Weenie, since you're
So
a financial guy, have you ever visited Wall Street?
I actually haven't. I have not visited Wall Street. My mentor Romulus, though, he worked on Wall Street for a number of years. So yeah, I would love to go. That would be like super exciting. Have you?
awesome.
Well, no, I've not been to the New York Stock Exchange. I have been in the Wall Street area and so forth.
Yeah.
And the good thing there is you can kill a few birds with one stone if you go there, because it's on the lower tip of Manhattan, and you can go to Battery Park, which is kind of a park and as well as a historical site. And then you're right there at the Statue of Liberty, so you can catch a ferry out to the Statue of Liberty
Yep, I've
and
done
Ellis
that.
Island.
And I
So
climbed the statue.
you got
Yes.
all that in kind of one area there, is all I'll say.
That's cool. I would love to see, the New York Stock Exchange. That's especially the big bull and the big
I
bear,
know.
big bell.
That
Yeah.
is awesome, because I was thinking while while you were sharing how, thank you for those nice tips that you gave us,
Oh
Winnie,
yeah, no
Yeah,
about
problem.
for you,
investing in
I mean, yeah,
yourself. I
for
really
you that's
appreciate
Mecca, so
that.
you got to go there.
Since you guys want to keep talking about tourist attractions, you should make sure to take out the vessel in the Equinox Yards.
Really?
That's so
Why?
nice.
The vessel in Hudson Yards near the Equinox?
Hmm.
It's like a
No, no.
giant sculpture spire that you can walk up and down. It's really nicely
Oh,
architectured.
wow.
Interesting.
I would love to do that.
We're gonna take a field trip.
That would be cool. But
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan, because I need to stop by and see my best friend in Yorktown.
wow. I was thinking also too, Weenie, when you was talking about the stocks and how that when when those planes went into the building in New York and at the Trade Center there, and just all the stocks just went down. It's sad,
It's so sad. It's
It's
scary.
a lot riding on it. Right there in New York.
The
Well, I mean,
lives lost, the money
the,
lost. It's crazy.
but the stock market came back. The money came back. Those lives never came back.
Exactly.
I know.
A life doesn't come back. Money
Right.
is expendable, but your life isn't.
Right.
And
And
that's
and,
one
and
other thing with stocks and stock trading and investing. It can be a stressful job sometimes, especially if you're losing money or people are losing money. There have been people in the business, even the mentor of my mentor, Romulus, he had a guy, he hung himself in his barn because he couldn't
yeah.
handle the stress of stocks or he had a really bad year.
It's,
And he always just needs to remind us and remind you that your life is never worth any amount of money. Money can always come back. It comes and goes. Don't always value your life. Seek out help, and in that scenario. But yeah, a
Well,
crazy time period.
I mean, Hollywood has made a killing off of the misery sometimes that's on Wall Street. I mean, and people like Bernie Madoff don't help. I know he's the exception to the rule, but yeah, movies like The Wolf of Wall Street and stuff like that. It gives Wall Street a bad name, which is very undeserved in my opinion. It's part and
Yeah,
parcel of class warfare too.
like
it's
trading places.
yeah.
Trading place.
Trading Places. That was an interesting
People,
movie.
people are envious of other people making money, and so they don't like Wall Street. They don't like the idea of people just making money to make money, and it
New
threatens
York
them.
as a whole gets a bad rap,
And I
Mike. You make
understand
it
that
hard.
What's
too.
that?
And yeah, in terms of Wall Street, even there's that perception, but even then, of the people in Wall Street, there's still very few people that are like still making money. It's a few people taking a large amount of the pot, and sometimes that rotates from year to year. But it has its upside and it has its downside as well. And you just want to smooth out that volatility if you're looking for it to become an actual income source.
Well, my retirement is tied largely to Wall Street. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't do it myself. I have someone that handles it for me.
good.
But my fortunes don't. That since I've gotten older, they've if you use the word going sideways, I'll say diversify. That'd be my word. Um,
Yeah,
so they've taken some money out of Wall Street and put it in stuff like real estate and stuff that's more more stable.
yeah.
Uh, but a lot of us have a vested interest in Wall Street doing well. I don't understand the antipathy toward people who want to make a living off of what goes on Wall Street. You
It's
you
Yeah,
you find thieves in every area. You find thieves in small towns operating small businesses.
it
sure.
becomes kind of like you become more like a thief if you're using deception to like make money. So like you like let's say you like buy a stock and then but it's like a garbage company or something and then you hype it up, or reverse, you're a short seller, you bet against the stock and then you spread false rumors to make people sell out their shares. That's thievery. There are some dirty things done in the industry where they're basically taking people's orders and like betting against them, and they cause the average investor to lose money, or I guess trader in this case, and then they pull it from them and they try to drive people out. And then once the last person has been driven out of their stock, that's when they buy it up finally. So there are some evil things going on.
Of
Um,
course.
but just because you're a trader or an investor, obviously doesn't mean that you're a bad person or anything. Well,
Well,
our
there's
goal
bad
is to
stuff that goes
just
on in our other two big centers too, in Los Angeles and in Washington. There are a lot of thieves there too.
yeah,
We don't demonize all of them, I hope. But,
yeah. It's
Yeah,
and they're
it's a case
even
by
thieves
case
in Kinston,
scenario.
North Carolina. People that
for
serve that bad
sure.
pizza will set.
I know anybody that'll serve somebody a pizza smothered in cheese like that know what they doing.
Yeah, they're giving us a
My
Particularly when
stomach
they ask
swelled.
for it.
It went like
yeah. There's
I got so
All
sick.
right.
I got sick. I mean, but you know what? Just think about all this. This is really good because I mean, when I went to New York, the people seemed very distant and cold, and
We are.
they didn't want to speak.
Oh,
We
And
are.
like hi, they're like,
That's something I
well,
had to get used to when I moved down here, let's say, is because you guys are all so warm and sweet. We don't do stuff like that. You keep to yourself, you get where you need to go. Like the
well,
whole
I don't know.
holding the
Maybe.
door open and trying to be cordial, we don't do that.
why?
But I mean, Jay, I don't. Maybe I got New Yorker inside of me because I don't really see that side of New Yorkers that much. I mean, it's true you don't walk down and wave and hi to everybody, but I mean, I
They're
think people are basically
cold.
pretty nice.
It seems like
No, I don't think
sometimes
so.
You ever look at
Well,
somebody and you feel like they're having a bad day? You'll see that a lot in New York, but it's not
yeah.
necessarily true. We walk around with RBF. We don't want to be bothered.
Well, another thing you don't want to do is I remember once I was I forgot where I was, but I was catching the subway, but I was going to the opposite direction because I was just vacation. But I was going to the opposite direction of the people who were getting off work, and you don't want to be in front of that door when that door opens, and those people come rushing out. I mean, you just get out of the way. Yeah, but
Yeah.
you live and learn. So,
That's funny. That I can see
I,
it now. That's funny.
I was on the subway once. I forgot. I was trying to go to Battery Park to the Statue of Liberty, and I asked this very very well dressed gentleman in a black suit and everything for directions. And I said after he talked to me for a minute, he kind of stumbled around, and he looked familiar. And then I realized it was Senator George Mitchell, who was
Wow.
the former Senate Majority Leader in the United States Senate,
Oh
Okay.
wow.
and just
Good
as
eye.
and he worked as a high class diplomat under President Clinton too, but just as nice as he could be. He wasn't a New Yorker; he's from Maine, but I think the people are okay. I don't.
I mean, I'm not saying that they're mean or nothing. I mean, they just seem so focused and like I don't have time for you. You know, move.
That's
Problem is here, the
that's
cost
Well,
of
that's
exactly
living
me.
is high.
that is
You're like,
true.
gotta make this money.
I'm the same
Yeah,
way. I
trying to
don't.
make that money up.
I'm the exact same way to a certain extent because I was like
Yeah.
that in school. They looked at me and was just like, "You don't say hi to anybody. You don't even have that warm demeanor in the mornings." I'm not a morning person. That also plays into it. But it's just you get where you need to go and you don't stop to ask questions. Because even my mom says the longer you linger in a certain area, the more it becomes an issue, either for the people that live there or for you.
Okay. And this is good because don't ask them directions because everybody will give you something different. I remember my father asking, "How do you get?" They said, "When you go down," and I said, "You don't know that man. Don't know." He said, "You go
Well,
down this
I don't
hill."
stop and ask directions on the street anywhere. But I remember the first time I went to a Yankees game at the hotel where I was staying. I asked the guy, and this is before he had all the smartphones and all. But I asked the guys who worked at the hotel, okay, tell me what to do about how to get to Yankee Stadium. They told me exactly, what stop to get off, and don't do this, don't do that, and it was fine. And when I got inside Yankee Stadium, the people were okay. Um, but I just don't walk down the street and say, okay, tell me how to get. No, you don't usually do
Yeah,
that. I don't.
you probably want to talk with like a business or like a shop or
Yeah.
something. You wouldn't want
Yeah.
to ask a random person.
Okay.
Because they can't really do anything bad to you if they work somewhere.
Oh, I
Right.
stop and
That's
ask,
true.
police officers. I had a conference once at John Jay College of Criminal Justice on 59th Street, and some police officers at Lincoln Center, nice as they could be.
That's awesome.
Interesting. I know sometimes, I don't know. I just don't think I could. I don't know. What about you guys? Do y'all think y'all can actually live in New York?
No,
You think you could go back
no,
and live
Yes.
Good,
back to?
but not
not me.
well.
I'm still trying to get back now. Yes, I think I
I
could live in New
know.
York.
I
Even if
could
you
not.
get lost, don't act lost because then people pick up on that. Don't look at the street signs trying to see what's what. If you look at it, you see where you are, where you need to be. Keep going. Cut a right or a left depending on which way you need to head and act as though you know your way. The first thing out of
Wow.
somebody's mouth if they see you acting like that is going to be, "Are you lost?" And they're going to try to take something from you.
Well,
Interesting.
I don't. I would live there for several reasons. I mean, one, I'm just a small town guy. I was raised in a small town, and I don't want to. I don't like to fight traffic. I don't mind big city, but I don't want to fight traffic. And the other thing is the weather. It's just too cold.
Mm.
Oh Lord,
I
yes.
just I don't like cold climates. That's my problem with anywhere north of Washington D.C. I don't like the cold weather.
I could not survive.
I can't
Not in the
stand the
cold
heat.
like that. What about you,
Well,
Wing? Would you
again,
want to
different
live
Yeah.
there?
strokes. He can't stand the heat. I can't stand the cold. So
I can handle any temperatures. I wear shorts out here in negative 30 degrees. I love it. But the cost of living, it's like, again, overrated or underrated? Probably overrated in terms of living there, but underrated in terms of visiting, perhaps.
you
Honestly.
know,
I would love
Greg,
to visit New York frequently, but the
if
cost
it
of
were
living.
me, I would not want to live there unless I could live the life. I could not stand
Yeah,
to live there and just get by, squeak by,
yeah. Like
and
you don't
watch
want to
people,
just be
watch other
stressed.
people go to baseball games and plays and shows and stuff like that, and I can't afford to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because
So
that's the thing with New York. It's one of those places where you cannot be stagnant. The city is not stagnant. There's always something going on, which is why it's called the city that never sleeps. If you
yeah,
get stagnant, you get bored, you want to move out.
Wow. I mean, even King Kong couldn't make it. I mean, he could.
Oh
Oh,
my
good.
god.
I mean, he couldn't make it.
How
I mean,
can I make
let's
it?
face it. I mean, poor thing.
Can we get a remake of the King Kong movie, but this time we need Lassetta's Jane?
Oh,
oh, this pizza I had,
oh.
I
You
can't
know what?
fathom it.
Now, just also to add to the show tonight, tomorrow is the Love Day. The
Oh,
Love
boy.
Day. Oh, y'all got some good ideas for to just
Do-
don't forget the people you love. I'm
I
trying to
said before the
warn you.
show,
you have a gift?
I have the perfect gift idea for this year: a hot air balloon ride. Make the perfect gift.
Don't get shot down.
Woo! That's funny. That's funny. So you really want me to get shot down?
Don't get shot down.
I don't know. I mean, maybe New York may be a wonderful place to go and spend Valentine's Day. I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know if I would want to do that.
Whatever you do, don't mess with Staten Island. They're not worth your time.
No.
Who says not?
I've
Wow.
only Jackson. My only exposure to Staten Island once was when I got on the wrong ferry. I thought I was going to the Statue of Liberty, and we go back and we get off at Staten Island.
Oh
So
my God.
I stepped foot
That's
on Staten Island, got back on the ferry, went back to Manhattan.
All
oh
five of the
no.
boroughs have their own chemistry, is the thing. Like, I get along with people from Harlem. Harlem is a part of Manhattan, don't get me wrong, but they still act different. I get along with people from Manhattan. My best friend is from Yorkville, like I was saying. I said Yorktown earlier. I'm tired, don't get me wrong. My sister is from the Bronx, so that shows that type of relationship. I've also got relatives that are out in Queens. There's just Long Island's cool too. Don't get me wrong. Hey, but there's something about Staten Island people that just rub everybody else in New York the wrong way. I've literally seen so many people get into arguments, and it's just like, okay, it shouldn't even be that big of a deal. But then they start throwing out, oh, that's why you're from here, that's why you're from there. And there's always somebody from Staten Island involved. Whose side
Why?
is this?
Why?
I know
Why is that?
it's a working class borough, right? I mean that's, but no tourist attractions, anything like that.
To
Uh,
each their own.
yeah. But I'm
Wow.
curious what you think about the Bronx, Jackson, because the only part of the Bronx I've seen is Yankee Stadium.
Don't get me wrong, the Bronx is a very fun place. Like, I joke about it all the time. If my sister ever watches this, she's gonna try to fight me the next time she sees me. But it's a very hard place to grow up, but it's one of the cheaper boroughs to live in. So don't get me wrong, but even still, you see why and you see what goes on there. But even still, I'll be up there minding my own business and something will pop off and I'll be like, oh my God, this is like the Bronx. And I'll start laughing and she'll be ready to smack the life out of me.
Well, I say that because when I've been to Yankees. I have not been to the new Yankee Stadium. I went to the old Yankee Stadium like 3 or 4 times, and everyone who I talked to, when they said, have fun at the stadium, but don't go wandering around after, or after the game. Just go to the game and leave. And I don't.
Wow.
Is that wise advice, or is that blown up, or
It is. They can tell if you don't belong.
yeah?
Isn't that something? How you can go to another area and they can tell that you don't belong here. That's
Well,
amazing.
it wouldn't be that hard in my case to stand out in the Bronx. I think that's pretty obvious. Hey y'all, how y'all doing? You know.
Have you seen Niagara Falls?
Yes.
Niagara Falls is good.
I
Yeah,
want
from
to
the
see
Canadian
that.
side. I've not seen it from the from the American side. And
Yeah.
speaking of upstate New York, I recommend if you're a baseball fan, by all means go to Cooperstown. It's a beautiful place, beautiful location, and a lot of places in upstate New York are beautiful locales. Some of the small towns up there, it's a completely different world from New York City. And Jackson, I think, can attest to this that there are 2 or 3 New Yorks, at least 2, but the 2 big divisions is New York City and everyone else.
There's
Wow.
New York City, and then there's the rest of New York.
Right.
They'll literally look at us and be like, okay, you're the stereotype. If you go
Yeah.
out of the city, it's a completely different environment.
Well, that's a little bit like Virginia. I mean, you have the D.C. area, Virginia, and the rest of Virginia. who care nothing about the people in D.C. So
Mark, you forgot. You've got D.C., Virginia, because my mom was born there. She goes there all the time, even still to this day. My aunt lives out in Baltimore, Maryland, though. Then you have the rest of Virginia, and then there's West Virginia.
Oh,
yeah,
West Virginia,
Western
mountain
Virginia, not West
woman.
Virginia. And what's the same thing? I mean, talking about Keone, Miami's a whole different world from North Florida. In Georgia, where I'm from, you have two states. You have Atlanta and everywhere else. So that's not uncommon. Big city versus small town. But upstate New York there's some beautiful areas of upstate New York. My first exposure to upstate New York was I was working in Pennsylvania and I had a couple of days off. I had a friend who was going to college in this real small town called Ogdensburg, right on the Canadian border, right on the St. Lawrence River. Just a beautiful area. But I mean, like I said, not really many tourist attractions, but that's the good thing. But and the nice cool clear blue lakes in upstate New York are just very nice.
Well, let me ask you this: what is the best soul food place or some soul food places to go in New York that you would recommend someone
I
go?
can't name anything specifically. Well, honestly, to a lot of New Yorkers and people up north, what they call soul food is just what we call regular home cooking in the South. So
I was about to say that you won't really find
Yeah.
many soul food establishments. If you want soul food, you go to a relative's house.
yeah,
So no one cooks grits.
That's not a thing
oh,
on
you
your
find it.
set.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
I
just.
like
But if I go
grits,
to
but
New
yeah,
York,
not a thing in
I don't go to New
Minnesota.
York for that. I go to New York to hit up the types of ethnic food I don't get everywhere else. I mean,
I can't
why would I go to
stand
New
hash
York and get fried
browns.
chicken?
I want some grits.
Though
Well, you
there's
can
a
get that
couple
here.
of
Why go to
places.
New York for that?
I wouldn't go there for that, but I'm saying if I'm in New York, I would love to have me some grits.
You can
But I
get
know
that
I'm
here.
probably not gonna get them, huh?
I had to look them
No,
up because it's not even my borough. Jacob's Soul Food Restaurant in Manhattan on Malcolm X Boulevard. Then there's another one on 2nd Avenue. And then there's a third one
Okay,
on 125th Street.
cool. I mean, I give me some
I,
soul
I've
food.
eaten at some places. And this is not New York. I'm talking about Philadelphia, where it wasn't. It's hard to describe it. It was like African infused soul food type thing. I mean, I don't really. It didn't have an official name to it, but that was an interesting place. Good food and a little bit different from what you get at home. But if I go to New York, though, I mean that's where you give me the Italian, give me the French, give me food like that. Don't give me stuff I can get down here.
Yeah.
I heard that. Well, see, look, we had a great topic tonight. You know what? And with all the plus and the minuses, so to sum it all up, is New York City, is it overrated or not?
No.
No.
Yeah. It's cool.
If you're tired, it's like London. If you're
Depends on
tired of
where
New
you're
York, you're
talking
tired.
to as
If
well.
you're tired of New York, you're tired of life.
Cool. Well
Because some
said.
people like to say New York is overrated after they didn't get what they wanted out of the experience. Because a lot of people love to say, oh, I'm going to take a bite out of the Big Apple, up until the Big Apple takes a bite out of you.
Ooh,
I've had
okay.
I've had nothing but good experiences there. Well,
Wow. Well, I can't say that it's overrated. I have not been there that much, but been there a few times. But I got turned off a little bit because I'm a country girl, but yet I really enjoyed the experience as well. I don't know. I mean, I don't mind visiting. There's some places I don't mind visiting. I just don't want to live there. I wouldn't
no,
want to live there in that hustle and bustle. I get enough of that. People driving,
Eddie Kinston.
slow. Get your butt out of the way. Get out of the so so really, really, I'm good. But I don't mind visiting. Yes. So we really, really enjoyed y'all tonight. We hope you guys have a great, absolutely wonderful Valentine's Day tomorrow. Don't forget to do something special for someone. And, hey, if you got that kind of money, you want to take them to New York for Valentine,
Tomorrow.
you
No, but
know,
I'll be there in November, December to look at the Christmas lights. I've never done that. We'll do that.
He'll be there after his hot air balloon ride, if we hear from him
Yeah.
ever again.
and we do gonna shoot it down.
Stephanie, take me to some nice
Flying
places to
around.
eat in Long
Hold
Island.
on my hat.
For sure, for sure. And we thank you so much for your weekly update. So I just really appreciate everybody. Thank you for your comments in the comment session. And hey, we want you guys to just enjoy Happy Valentine's Day tomorrow. Is that all right?
How do we get out of here
I don't know.
without,
Hey,
I don't
without
know.
hey.
John? How do we end this?
I don't
Do I just click off?
know. I don't know.
I don't think we do that. We need our outro.
We don't know. No matter your race,
You
Yeah.
start
no
singing that, and we'll eventually
matter,
just we'll,
Let's
we'll,
say
we'll
give it
click
to us
off,
a cappella.
leave you alone. Yeah.
no matter your race, no matter your
That's my cue. Bye, everybody.
age. Oh, oh,
He's got to walk the dog.
tell us your view.
Bye, everyone.
Mine and you share too. Y'all have a great Valentine's Day. All right, New Yorkers. Okay. Thanks, Jackson. Y'all have a good one.
Of course. Stay
Bye
safe,
bye.
everyone.
All right. Bye.
Skibidi embedded.